Shalom, all praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh, the King of terrors, Bahashim, Yahawashai, Bahashim, Racha, Kodash, and double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of the great millstone who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, who may you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who may scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahawashai, willing, this lesson is edifying. My name is Quanawath, and this is the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. From the awful elect tree, Jake shares vision of World War III, published 7 hours ago.
Hey, what's going on TikTok? So I just wanted to tell you guys something. Tell you I had a dream last night, and it was a war. I was outside, bunch of people outside, people just doing their normal regular life. It was nighttime, and the sky lit up almost as if it was on fire, and you don't see nothing until something starts to approach out of the clouds. So what came out of the clouds, it looked like missiles. They weren't big, they're kind of small, and when they were coming out of the clouds, it was like they just spread and stuff like that. And I'm assuming it was a missile. It could have been a meteor and stuff. It was fire coming out the back. Specifically, I remember the missiles they were green, red, and white with fire coming out of the back. And now the thing is, I want to say like hellfire, and the reason I say that is because it was so many of them.
Joel, chapter 2, verse 3. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness.
Like so many of them. They were everywhere. And the thing is, you couldn't see them until it was like they were over the clouds, and then you just see them coming out the clouds. And like I said, they were literally everywhere. And they were blowing up cars and houses and people, and it was just screaming and complete and utter chaos. And people were crying, and people were running and dipping and just trying to dodge, and it was crazy. And like I said, it wasn't like big explosions. It was like bunch of little explosions, but they were like, they were big enough. And I woke up and I was panting, and I was like, what the fuck? Because it seemed so real. And then I was like looking around, I was like, okay, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Like there's nothing going on. And then so I ended up going back to sleep. And I went back to sleep into the exact same dream, and I right where I left off. And I was just running, and then I ran back for some reason. I think to grab somebody, and it was a missile coming, and like or fireball. I don't know. I think it was missiles and stuff. And then the whole time in my dream, it was just it felt like Russia, like a Russian invasion or something.
Verse 7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways. And they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one trust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief.
It just kept saying Russia, 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 and it wasn't like flashing saying Russia. The missiles didn't say Russia. Like it was the feeling was just Russia, and I do not know why. I don't even know what the fuck that means. But it was just, and it just, it was like it was almost as if it was raining fire out of the sky. I mean, it was that many fucking missiles, and they were just constant. They were just coming, just phew, phew, just like that. They come out through the clouds and they spread out like that, and they're not going any like direct area. They're just spreading and just hitting wherever it hit. But it was,
And so this individual saw a vision of the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, according to biblical prophecy. The prophecy of the end. For as it is written, the end is come. The end is come. It watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come. What, he's been describing so far is the prophecies written of in the book of Revelation, the 9th chapter, followed by Joel, the 2nd chapter, concerning the weapons of the Lord's indignation, which are the thermonuclear missiles. What he saw was the number of the army of the horsemen, that is, of the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Again, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. That is 200 million. And I heard a number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone, and the heads of the horses, that is, the warheads, or as the heads of lions, because a lion's power is located at its head, where its teeth, fangs, mouth is located, where it snatches, it bites, it rips and tears, it's praised to pieces. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was a third part of men killed, and the third part of men is the wicked, who according to Malachi chapter 1 verse 4 is Esau, Edom, the so-called Caucasian race, beginning with their hegemon, their elite banking families, including their Rothschilds, their Gettys, their DuPonts, their Lees, their McDonald's, their Rockefellers, so on and so forth. The hegemony of the wicked. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouths, and in their tails, the engine that propels them from one continent to the next after they're shot from their nuclear silos. For their tails were like unto serpents, because after they are shot forth from their nuclear silos, the smoke, or rather trail of smoke, that is left by the engine that propels them from one continent to the next, leaves a physical trail that is likened unto a serpent. The appearance of it is likened unto a serpent, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And they will hurt. This is the book of Joel, again, chapter 2, verse 3. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. Because after those nuclear missiles explode in ground zero at their respective locations, everything will be devoured before them. Because remember, their heads were as the heads of lions, for their power is in their mouth. With them they do hurt, and behind them a flame burneth, right, which is the engine that propels them from one continent to the next, thus leaving a trail of smoke that has the appearance of serpents. The land is as the Garden of Eden. This land, America, Babylon the Great, is as the Garden of Eden. The word Eden is from the Hebrew Aidan, which means paradise. At one point, the whole earth was a paradise. And there's a garden that was eastward in Eden. And that garden is the land of Israel. And so America, Babylon the Great is as the Garden of Eden, a very beautiful land full of a lot of trees and plants, florage, herbage before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, because after they explode, they will leave a desolate wilderness, according to biblical prophecy. And we can read about this further in Isaiah the 13th chapter. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. And they're going to run to and fro throughout this entire land after they detonate. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, right? They're going to leap over all of the nuclear missile defense systems of this land, a land that is likened unto one that is defenseless, a land of unwalled villages, pursuant to Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains, shall they leap. They're going to leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained, as that Jake had described, as we had just heard in his dream, of how fearful and how in much pain people were, and according to biblical prophecy will be. Because you're reading it right now. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall, all the missile defense systems, like men of war, just as men of war would climb the walls of a city that they're besieging, that they're at war against, so will these nuclear missiles climb over the wall of the missile defense systems of this land and infiltrate its cities, devouring them with fire according to biblical prophecy. And they shall march everyone in his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one trust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, who is the wicked, Psalm chapter 17, verse 13, Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up, or rather, they shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. And we can visualize this as we read it. The earth shall quake before them, as it is written, the earth shall rock to and fro like a drunkard, by reason of these nuclear missiles detonating. The heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark. Literally and figuratively, the sun, which represents wisdom, and the moon, which represents knowledge, shall be darkened, because the Lord will remove his knowledge from off of the internet and from off of the highways and hedges. And so again, it reads, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Verse 11, and the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, is great and very terrible. Who can abide it?
Was so many of them, and it was so constant. The rapid fire was just so, it was just, and so many people were dying. It was just freaking, I don't even understand. I don't know why Russia had anything to, I don't even know what Russia had to do with it, or why it had anything to do with it. It just, my dream just said Russia. It was just like Russia. But,
Russia will have a thing to do with it, because Russia is regarded as Gog and Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, they are referred to as the Medes. So Russia has a important role to play in biblical prophecy in regards to the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, according to biblical prophecy. All right, and being allied unto certain nations.
and I don't even think Russia's, or even, is even green, red, and white. So I don't even know what the hell that's all about. But still in all, it was just, the fact that I went to sleep and woke up and then went right back to sleep and went right back into where it left off, that just made it even more kind of scary. And then I woke up, when I finally did wake up, I was just like, that was one hell of a dream. Like, I don't know what that was all about or why, and it could have been something else. Maybe it wasn't this. I don't know. It was just red, white, and green, and for some reason Russia just kept on circulating in my soul or in my mind or whatever. I don't freaking know. And
again, see the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, followed by Jeremiah, the 50th, 51st as well chapter, and the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. These chapters, especially Isaiah 13 and Ezekiel 38, mentions Russia, which it doesn't explicitly say Russia, but we know that Russia is Gog of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And again, in Isaiah the 13th chapter, they're referred to as the Medes. And they will play a major role in biblical prophecy. in the near future.
Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy dream. But either way, I just want to share my dream with you guys. Talked to my aunt, and she's very churchy. She was like, "Oh, that sounds like the end of the world and the end of times and some prophetic stuff. I don't know." And yeah, I don't know. I talk about it, and it kind of makes me a little nervous. In my spirit, I feel like a little shaken and stuff. And I'm not even a spiritual person like that. I don't go to church or anything, but I just feel every time I think about it or like talk about it and stuff, I get really, really uncomfortable. So I don't know, but anyhow, that's it.
So with that, I will conclude this lesson. Lord is willing, it has been edifying to the elect. And should that brother see this lesson, that's what your dream meant. And so that I say shalom to the elect.